morning, students. Today we are going to see the 9th chapter of our class 6 science textbook, that is the living organisms and their surroundings. So you must have seen that everywhere, wherever you go, wherever you will see, you will find some living organisms living there. For example, if you will see outside, you will see various plants, trees, herbs, shrubs, then animals like dog, cat, or small insects like ants, butterflies, wasps, bees, etc. And even organisms which are not visible to our naked eyes. That means microorganisms which are so tiny that we have to use a microscope to see them. Such small organisms are also present everywhere. Even in your hands, you might have some microorganisms. Inside your body also, there are some microorganisms. Wherever you will go, you will find different types of living organisms around you. There is not a place where any kind of living organism is not there. So today we will see how living organisms live in different kinds of places or different types of places, climates, etc. First, let's see what is habitat. Habitat is the place where an organism lives. The surrounding of the organism where it lives is called its habitat. For example, you can take camel. Where does a camel live? The camel lives in the desert, which has sand, which has very dry temperature, very dry weather, very less moisture. So that desert where the camel is found, desert is the habitat of the camel. Another example I can give you is of fish. A fish is found in water, only water. If you will take it out, it will not be able to survive. So the water is the habitat for the fish. Likewise, wherever an organism lives, the surrounding of it, the whole place will be called its habitat. Habitat provides everything to the organism. The habitat will provide the food, the shelter for the organism. For example, camel lives in the desert, so what it needs? It is a herbivorous animal, it feeds upon leaves. So desert have various plants which the camel can feed upon. Fish. A fish can eat dead body parts of other organisms or plants or small insects or other smaller fishes. So the food will be available in the habitat itself, and the shelter where the organism live will be available in it also. So the habitat provides everything an organism needs to survive for the organism. It will provide everything for the organism. Now, diversity. In the habitat, you will see various types of diversity. Diversity means variety. So, any habitat you take, you will find that different kinds of plants and animals will be surviving in the same habitat. For example, in the same forest, you will have very tall trees, you will have medium height shrubs, and you will have very small herbs living in the same area. As for the animals, you will see that in desert, for example, you will find camels, then you will find rats, snakes. So different kinds of animals and plants, different kinds of organisms can share the same habitat. On the other hand, different types of animals can be found in different habitats. For example, camel can only be found in the desert and dry regions. They will not be found in the water or they will not be found in the forest. Whereas on the other hand, fishes will only be found in the water and not in the desert or mountain area or mountain habitats. So, different types of animals have different types of habitats. On the other hand, several kinds of animals can share the same habitat also. Next, let's see components of habitat. A habitat mainly have two components, biotic component and the abiotic component. So biotic components comprises the living organisms. Living organisms like all the plants, animals and microorganisms. Together all living organisms are called biotic components of a habitat. While abiotic components like weather, water, air, soil, etc. These are non-living components. So non-living components like air, water, soil, temperature, climate, all these abiotic components which helps a living organism to survive are called as abiotic components of the habitat. For any habitat, for any organism to survive, for any habitat to be viable, both biotic as well as abiotic components are needed and they need to be interconnected to each other. Organisms interact with the abiotic component, they drink the water, they inhale the air, they inhale the oxygen, plants inhale or take in the carbon dioxide. Like that, interaction will be there among the biotic as well as abiotic components in a habitat. Next, let's see types of habitats. Habitats can mainly be of two types. They are natural habitat and artificial habitat. By the name itself you can understand, natural habitat are those habitats which are found naturally, like desert. We humans do not make desert. Desert are naturally existing. So desert, then water like pond, ocean. So these are naturally existing. They will be called as natural habitat. On the other hand, artificial habitat are those habitat which are man-made, which we make up. For example, you can take a botanical garden where we plant different types of plants. Then aquarium where we keep in a glass, we keep fishes of different types, plants. So such man-made habitats are called artificial habitat. Now let's dwell upon natural habitat. Natural habitat again can be of two types, that is terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat. Terrestrial habitat is, you can relate it with land. All the organisms that live on land will said to have a terrestrial habitat. For example, forest. Forest is present on land. Grassland. Grassland is present on land. Then polar regions, mountain regions, all these are land. These are on land surface. So they will be considered as terrestrial habitat. On the other hand, the organisms, the plants and animals that live in water are said to live in aquatic habitat. For example, pond, lake, ocean, sea, estuaries, deltas, they will be considered as aquatic habitat. So I hope you have understood the difference between terrestrial and aquatic. Terrestrial, land habitat, aquatic, water habitat. Now, next topic is adaptation. Adaptation are the specific features or certain habits that help an organism to survive in its surrounding, to survive in a particular place. I can give you a few examples, like fishes have gills instead of, if you imagine the head of the fish, they have gills instead of having lungs. The gills help them to inhale the oxygen from the water. Dissolved oxygen can be taken inside their body with the help of the gills. They have fins and tails which help them in swimming. If you will take out the fish, will there be any necessity or any you can say any usage of those gills, fins and tails? In the outside world, the gills doesn't work, because here we have to inhale or we have to take in the oxygen through lungs. Directly from the gas we have to take. Whereas gills are modified to take oxygen from the water. So these gills, fins, tails that help the fish to live in the water will be called the adaptation for the fishes. Whereas on the other hand, us human beings have 2 hands and 2 legs. Monkeys also have 4 limbs, okay? 2 forelimbs and 4 limbs that are in the front and 2 hind limbs that are in the back. But their limbs and our limbs are a little different. You can see the structure of the fingers, then the structure of their legs, they will be different from us. Dogs also have 4 limbs, but all 4 of them are legs and all 4 they use to walk. But we use only 2 legs for walk and 2 of the limbs of ours are used for grasping things like grasping a pen, grasping something like glass, eating food. So you can take the food with your hand and put it in your mouth. So this grasping nature of our hand is our adaptation. And the 4 legs of the dog, it needs to run very fast for getting its food or various purposes. So that is the dog's adaptation. The dog have very sharp nose, so that will help it to find its food. So the strong sense of smell will be the adaptation for the dog. I hope you have understood what is adaptation. Adaptation are certain habits or specific features that develops in an organism over a very long period of time. It takes millions of years for an organism to adapt somewhere, to get adaptations, changes in their body that ultimately helps the organism to survive in its habitat. You have to remember, adaptation is a very slow process. It takes millions of years for a single adaptation to take place. Those organisms who are unable to adapt with the changing environment or external factors, they will be died out. You might also now have experienced how the temperature is changing nowadays. So like that, from millions of years ago, the climate have made drastic changes. So those organisms who are unable to adapt or who are unable to acquire certain features or habits that help them to survive along with the changing habitat, they will die out, and those who acquire these adaptations, they will live on this earth. Then you have to remember that adaptations for different types of habitats will also differ. For example, adaptations to survive in the water are different, like the development of the fins, tails and gills, while the adaptations for living in desert area are different. Adaptations to live in a grassland are different. So adaptations are specific for different types of habitats. Next topic is acclimatization. You have to remember, adaptation and acclimatization are 2 different things. How they are different? First, let's have a look. What is acclimatization? Acclimatization are small changes that take place in the body of an organism over short periods to overcome small problems due to changes in the surrounding. So these are not permanent changes, okay? These are temporary changes for a short period and we acquire it very quickly. For adaptation, it takes millions of years. For acclimatization, it takes few days only. What is acclimatization? I can explain it with the help of an example. You see, whenever you will climb high up in the altitude, for example, you are climbing on a mountain, you are climbing a mountain. When you will go up, the availability of oxygen is less there. So you will feel that your heartbeat start to beat very fast, your heartbeat will get fast and you will start to have red cheeks. Then you will start breathing very fast. So why are these changes taking place? When we live on the plain areas, the oxygen availability is enough. So if we will take slow breath our body is adapted, our body is used to having this much of oxygen availability in this area, in the plain areas. But when we climb up on the high altitude, as much high you will go, the availability of oxygen decreases. So when you will climb high up a mountain, the amount of oxygen decreases there. So your body needs oxygen, but the availability of oxygen is less. So you will start breathing very fast to give all parts of your body enough oxygen to function. When you will go in the first few days, you will experience shortness of breath. You may experience shortness of breath, then a very heartbeat, very fast heartbeat, reddening of your cheeks. But staying there for few days, your body will automatically adapt to such situations. Sorry, not the proper term adapt, but your body will get used to such situation, and slowly more the RBC will be produced in your body, and ultimately you will start to have normal heartbeat, and the reddening will also reduce. But again, when you will come down, now you don't need that much red blood cell, or you will have enough oxygen down there. Then what will happen? The reddening of your cheeks will go away, and you will stop having the faster beat. So when you go in a new place, completely different place from where you live, your body have to get used to that situations. So after a few days, it is you can say it gets used to that situation and adapts itself for a small period of time. That is called acclimatization. Adaptation is a permanent change which will be retained in your body, and you may be born with this. But acclimatization is changes that comes for only a short period or temporary period, where when you change your place or where you live from one place to another, which have very different climatic or abiotic features. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is the difference between adaptation and acclimatization. But remember, if you are in one forest and you will go to the same area, like if you live in a tropical region, from one place to another place you will go, which will have same climatic conditions, you won't be experiencing any changes like acclimatization. To experience it, you have to change the place where the habitats will be very different from each other. So here we have discussed the topics: habitat, where an organism lives, then what are some of the characteristics of habitat, like it provides food, shelter, and it has various diversities. Then we have discussed the components of habitat, biotic as well as abiotic components. Then types of habitat, natural and artificial habitat. Then we have seen the two types of natural habitat, terrestrial as well as aquatic, and discussed some of their examples. Then what is adaptation? The certain features and certain habits that an organism acquire over the course of millions of years, which enables it to survive in a place or in its habitat, are called adaptations. We have discussed various examples of adaptations. Then we have seen acclimatization, which is temporary changes taking place over a very short period of time, so that our body can get used to the changed habitat or surrounding. And we have also discussed what is the difference between adaptation and acclimatization. In the next video, we are going to discuss about various different types of terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat. For now, thank you.